Okay. Huh? The 30th. Right before Halloween. Come on, Karen. Okay. So before, when we were talking about like our SFMA and our PRI exams, stuff like that, we had this idea of we have like flexion, we have extension, we have rotation, we have this like kind of frontal plane movement, and all these things were really important as to like figuring out where maybe there was an issue in somebody. All right. The new stuff we're looking at is really there's kind of just these two states. We have an exhalation, internally rotated, compressed state. We have a inhaled, did I say internally rotated? Right, internally rotated, exhale, or inhaled, externally rotated, expanded state. All right? Yeah, you left it.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm usually really good about that. Bye, guys.
So if our assessments are pretty much going to now put us into one of these two categories, it allows us to figure out where do we need to drive this person, not only with maybe some of our interventions to, if like we're not going to try to fix pain, but something that we might want to look for. But if we're going to train them, we might want to pick a certain exercise that is going to bias them towards that so we can bring them back to like neutral. All right? So it's kind of hard because it takes away some of the references that we were using before. Because like I keep getting confused with like, all right, if internal rotation is exhaled and compressed, but it's also associated with extension, adduction, and dorsiflexion, it's kind of like, all right, well, all that kind of like looks like this. And you then think, all right, that's deadlifting. But we also used a lot of like IR and stuff like that in maybe our PRI exercises to get them maybe a little bit more expansion or even some different pressure changes, stuff like that. So it kind of can get confusing a little bit, but I think once we get going with it, you might get a better idea as to how it all plays together. So ultimately what we're looking for is on our new assessment sheet, we have these two columns, right? It says these things at the top, and then it's got a bunch of boxes below it, and we're putting like kind of, we've just been putting, usually they were talking about putting in like degrees of angles. We're not going to measure degrees of angles. Like nobody, I can't eyeball that shit and I don't really care. But what we're just going to put is like, does it look like it's adequate? And we'll put some ideas as to like where that falls in terms of some of the ranges of motions. And what we've been doing is if it doesn't, we put a minus. If it does, we put a plus in that box. So what we can do at the end is look at, all right, which column has more pluses and minuses, and then also what does our infrasternal angle tell us is our kind of like main point to look at, and then we can start to weave our exercise choice or our selection after that. So there's two things that that you have to kind of like think about first. Exhale, IR, internal rotation, compressed, narrow infrasternal angle. All right? So typically that's what we're going to see is this very narrow angle here. All right? We're probably going to be a little bit better with internal rotation and adduction, extension, and dorsiflexion. All right? If we have inhaled, external rotation, expansion, wide infrasternal angle. That means we're probably going to be a little bit wider here. We're going to be really good at opening things up and getting big. All right? I'll give you a quick thing is over the past like 2 weeks, I've had probably like, I want to say 6 assessments with people that are like 60 years and older, and almost all of them can, what was that? Is it plugged in now? All right. Almost all of them were, even if they were compressed, most of them were expanded, but even they were a little compressed, they still actually needed like some strength training to get them a little bit even like tighter in some positions. So like they just didn't have the strength to hold some of this stuff, even though in most cases if they're compressed you want them to kind of like expand and get mobility back. It was interesting, we still needed to get them like some relative like joint integrity by able like holding a squat position. So I think the other thing we have to think about and sometimes is in some of our cases, even though they may be over here, which means we want to get them maybe breathing and opening things up and those should move a little bit better, that doesn't mean that we still don't need to load them or maybe deadlift them or get them some kind of heavy weight in their hands. And it's the same thing on the other end, right? we have some people that are like Gumby, and ultimately what we need to do is actually get them to hold something heavy and be able to control that like range of motion. So far, it's been a little bit kind of a shift, but I think we're figuring it out. In a compressed state, we're still going in through our nose, but our exhale is this kind of like open sigh. So it's, right, because I don't want you to actually really gear up this and engage like internal, external obliques with this heavy exhale, because you're already doing that really well, right? Now, if we're in an expanded state, we want to pretend like we're blowing up the balloon or we're blowing through a straw. And we should really feel this guy kind of pull that rib cage back down in it, all right? So just two things to keep in mind. If we're looking for to get someone a more expanded state and they're in compressed, we want this open mouth exhale. If we're someone that is expanded and we want them to get more compression, we want to pretend like we're blowing up through the balloon. In both cases, we are still looking for a full exhale. So it doesn't mean your open sigh is going to be, right? We still want to and get it out. All right, we're just not aggressively driving air out to get some internal, external oblique stuff. Okay? All right, so everyone's grab a sheet. Let's partner up. There you go. Dylan, I'll get you another one. All right, there's one on my desk. Grab a clipboard and a pen. All right, so let's get two people right here. Let's get two people right here. And let's get two people on the... That's my mat. That's my mat. Don't touch it. You two are together, and then Doug and Dylan can be partners. Doug and, yeah, there we go. They're the goon. They're the goon. All right, so let's get one person on the ground, on their back, and let's get the other person holding their stuff.
Yep, it's me. All right, Noelle, let's go. Okay.
All right, so the first thing we will check, all right, and you could do is, I've been playing with the order, it doesn't really matter, we're just trying to get all of our checkpoints off, is we'll go with hip flexion, all right? So we'll take Lisa's knee, we're going to grab her by kind of the foot and the outer edges of the epicondyle, right? And just going to kind of guide it straight back. And what you're looking for is as soon as this feels sticky, and does it drag this with it? So we're going to go right about there. You can already start to see it come up. Now the other thing too is like, what if you want to do that?
Tightness in my hip.
All right, so we're looking for not only range of motion, but compression, okay? Because again, if we go by our kind of hierarchy, right, we're looking for her to be able to fully flex, but also if she's like maybe overly compressed or maybe over expanded, it's going to start to move how this pelvis shifts in and out of position. Okay, so we would put that as like we're kind of like saying like, all right, she's got a lot, but it's already starting to give her some movement on this other side. So we may call that, and I would still call that pretty much like she's got it. If she was like up here, I'd probably say negative, right? Or if she's getting pain in that, I would say like as a negative.
Is there any pain? Yeah, pain.
Do you feel pain in that when I compressed you? No, it just felt tight. All right, so that would be hip flexion. So on this sheet, okay, we got the hip, and then it says flexion, right? And it's on your left column underneath a squat. It's on her left leg, so we would just put a plus mark in there for her. Yeah, Dill Pickle, relax. Right, so right about there, right? You can already start to see us coming up, and we're praying.
So would you put a plus for him?
I would put a plus. It didn't hurt.
Pass.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously.
What do you, I didn't miss all the assess.
So that's left hip. All right, so we'll go here. We'll guide her straight back. Yeah, so
Not really moving, it's pretty good.
like what happens when you get in there?
That hurts.
Yeah. All right. So Noelle will get next. So under hip flexion, right? We go across. There's right and left.
Doing here or here?
Not yet. We'll get to that in a second. So right now, hip flexion, left side. You're going to put a plus. So no. So you're going to put a negative. Yeah, a minus. Because there's pain. Yeah, and she doesn't have it. All right. Hey, you'll get there. Relax, Chief. All right. So next thing. All right. No. So yeah, we're staying on the same leg. All right. So we're staying on the same leg. We're going to go. All right, here, and we're just going to external rotate.
I mean, it's tight right here.
It's tight, but it doesn't painful, right? All right, with external rotation, right, we're looking for almost, you don't have to be completely perpendicular, but we're probably looking for, I mean, if this is straight, we're probably looking for at least like 50, 60 degrees, maybe more than that. All right, so I would say you're pretty close, all right? And then she's got plenty of IR, right? That's what you want. Okay, yeah. So if we get to like here, that's where you'll feel it, and sometimes you'll feel like a bony block, and it's like, you're not going anywhere, right? That is what we're looking for. That would be like an AF. So you actually have plenty IR, and I would say you're limited a little bit in external rotation. So I would put on her sheet, right? It says,
Limited because I can't get to 9.
yeah. So in her hip, right? It says ER is on this left thing. So on your left, you would have a minus. On your right or left IR, you would have a plus. All right. So we're looking at her left leg. We've got a plus in hip flexion, but a minus in hip external rotation, and then we've got a plus in internal rotation. So what'd you know? That's it. All right, so I would just, so you're kind of blocking with that arm.
Yep.
I would come underneath
Yep.
here, and then you can kind of do that.
Okay.
Okay, so you can just kind of guide her into that, and that's still. So what do you feel?
Fine.
Okay, so again, limited, right? And then if we go this way, tons,
Wow.
right? We got a lot, all right? So that's actually pretty good. Hey, good job.
So she's a plus and a plus?
So she's a net minus on the external rotation and a plus on the internal rotation. All right, so we can just stay on that same side.
Oh, okay.
All right, so let's lie back again. So
Just so I understand, the
Yeah.
first one we were doing flexion. Now we're doing hip.
So how would he do with hip
Well,
flexion?
He didn't do well with. Well, okay. So we're right now what we did.
Hip flexion. Ready?
Right.
So
we
bring
did
that.
this here.
Oh, so bring that back,
We
back,
did
back,
that,
back.
But I'm trying to figure out where your columns are. So
Lefts.
2. Okay.
Okay.
got it.
So now show me
now when
external
he's
rotation.
here,
Yeah.
He's got. I would say minus here.
Yep.
And I would say
Plus there.
okay.
All right. So it's all on the left side.
3. Got
All
it.
right. Okay. So guys, we'll stay on this left side. All right. We'll stay on this left side, and then you guys can all do the right side. All right. So now we're going to go to the shoulder. All right. So she's going to bring it out. We're going to keep this shoulder from moving. All right. So you're going to kind of just almost like on the Chromium process, and just kind of keep it down. Because what happens, like if I just let her go down, you see how this rolls up. We want to find where that's about there. All right, that's actually pretty good. So she's got pretty good IR. I mean, obviously we should almost get to the floor, but that's not too bad. All right, so see how that goes up. Yeah, and then we'll go ER. She's a little sticky there. She can't go all the way back.
Does the back of my hand have to be?
Here's the thing: is like you'll know, you'll feel it. Yeah. All right. So internal, we want to get like almost to the floor, but you see how high that shoulder is. So we'll bring her out. She gets about there. I mean, it's not bad, right? I still say it's pretty good. She's lacking ER pretty significantly, all right? Most people will just drop to the floor, all right? Then we'll take the elbow, again, here. We'll keep the elbow bent. We're going to bring it across. This should be in line with her nose or past it. You get pain there?
Yeah.
You got pain coming across? All right, so she got pain coming across in adduction, all right? And then we're going to put a hand on the rib, turn the hand all the way into external rotation, and come back, and that's stuck too. Yep. Okay, so she's a little stuck. Yes. All right, so here's the thing is, so now Lisa we're on that shoulder part, right? So shoulder, that first line would be external rotation, right? So on her left side, she has a negative. On her IR on that side, I would give her a positive. On her we don't do abduction because we don't have a table, but on her adduction across, we'd give her a negative because she has pain in it. And then on her overhead flexion on that side, we'd also give her a negative. Okay? So go ahead, you can try that on the left shoulder and see what you come up with. Karen, you can start doing stuff on the right, or you can do her left again just to confirm. All right, so you don't have to crush her armpit. It's more, more here.
me.
Yeah, there you go. And just kind of let it guide her hand down. Yep, and keep it bent. Yeah. So you don't want to move the elbow. Yeah, she's gonna go here and she's gonna go down. Ooh, felt that little snap there. Huh? All right, so she's stuck. Yeah, she's stuck. So now bring it back. Right, and you start to feel a little sticky, so she's stuck on that too. Yep. So I would probably give her minuses on both those. All right. So now you're going to take this, right, and again you're going to be here, and you're going to bring it across. Ain't pain there. Nope. All right. So she's positive. She's fine in that. You're going to take this hand. You're going to keep one hand on the rib. You're going to open this way, so it's fully external rotated. What about there? All right. She's still a little stuck hanging off the table. Okay. So I would probably try those again to see what you notice. Yeah, we'll get to it in a second.
All right, so just go to
So
the side.
guys, we're just doing all left side stuff. You should only be marking things that have L's on them.
Yeah, but she did my right.
Okay, so what'd you do on the right?
Positive, positive.
She did this and this.
All right, so let's see it. Let's see what it looks like. I agree. Yeah. So it's better, yep. And let's see you go back.
And this, watch this.
Yeah.
This is exciting.
All right, good. Yeah.
Pause, pause.
Yeah.
See?
Where does it go?
So now we'll go on the shoulder, right? External rotation, P, or positive, yep. Internal rotation, P, or plus, yep. And then overhead flexion. Did we do overhead flexion? No, that's adduction. All right. So guys, real quick, let's just look at Lisa, because this is a good example of a pretty big asymmetry, right? So Karen, show us that right side again.
Watch this. Ready? Lisa, ready?
All right, so that's pretty good. And then bring her back.
Oh, watch this. Everybody.
Right to the floor. All right. Now show us the left side again real quick.
All good.
Yeah, she doesn't like to go further than that. And then go ahead, bring her back. And it gets stuck. All right. So
You're right-handed.
We're like a circus monkey today.
But I've been having issues with my shoulder for months. This left shoulder.
oh my God. All right. So, but you see, you guys see, like it's like the best thing I can say is like when we. So, well, so here's the thing is, what I like about this is it's kind of like the FMS when they're like, what does a 3 look like? It's like, you know it when you see it. Like, that's obviously way easier, and you're just like, boop, boop, and on that other side, you can see it just hanging in the breeze. So if you start to feel tension, or you start to kind of feel like, you almost feel like you have to find, like, force it, yeah, or things are starting to move, it's like, yeah, you don't push that. Like, you kind of get an idea of where they're limited. So it's right side's really good, left side's not. Let's just check overhead flexion on this side, too. So again, we're going to take her hand, we're going to bring her into full external rotation, hand on a rib, and then we're going to bring her back. And again, that's pretty good. It's still a little bit stiff at the very end. And then if we go here, we bend this, and we come across. You see how much further she, yeah, way past the nose. No pain, right?
No.
All right, so you can start to see where these limitations come up. So let's do the right side.
With your left shoulder.
Right? So let's do the right side on everybody and do the same thing. All right, and then we'll do an infrasternal angle on that, and that should give us a pretty good check. I would put put a plus on everything. Yeah, on that right side. Do whatever you want. You guys can figure it out. So go through her right leg, yep. What do you got?
So on her overhead, it was pretty good.
On both of them?
No, we only did the left. But I wouldn't give it. I mean, she was. No. I mean, she's almost all the way there. So I didn't know what to call that.
Give it, you know what? Give it a plus. Give it a plus. Well, here's the thing. It'll come out in the wash. We'll figure it out. Yeah. Eeks. Yeah, you're good. Yep. That's external rotation. Yep. So now you got to back up so you can bring her the other way. Well, so yeah, you can do it that way. Here's the thing: is what's really cool is if I grab her like this, right? I can control her this way, and then I can control her that way. Yep. Don't fail the test, Elisa. Don't fail that test.
Like, I'm worried. It'd be easier if I could just write it down.
All right, so on this side,
So my
Your hip.
external rotation was plus.
Plus, and your whole arm was.
Yes.
Well, the second one was.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So ER, and that's good. Yeah, you're good.
What? Like her whole elbow wants to move every time.
Yeah. So just let it. So let it go. Just let it drop. Actually, that's it. That's all she's got. Right? Because she wants to get it someplace else. So man, we got like no IR on that right side.
She wasn't.
I had nothing.
She was pretty sticky over there too. Her whole elbow. Was,
Yeah. Like you got nothing on that.
okay. Okay. I just need to show functional.
All right, so we should have done both our shoulders, and we should have done both hips. Yep. So turn, yeah, and then get a hand on the rib. Yeah, just keep it down. Yeah, there you go, good. And then let it drop and let it go. So that's, yeah, so here's the thing, right? If I'm here, right, and I get my rib down and I keep it there, I should still let that just go. Okay? Because what we'll typically see is as that arm goes in overhead flexion, right, I'm going to maybe drag that rib cage with it, and they're like, oh yeah, I can get there, right? But if you get them to go down, they'll go. I was like, all right. All right, so you're cheaters, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got pretty much, you guys still have to do that right hip, or did you do the right hip? All right, So just hang out for a second. Let's do an infrasternal angle real quick on Lisa. All right. So what we're going to look for here, so point to the bottom where your rib cage splits. All right. So that's a xiphoid process. We're going to take our thumbs and we're just going to go on the inside of that. All right. And if you come look, you can see my thumbs are pretty much almost like touching each other as I follow her rib cage. That would be narrow. Okay. So that's where, all right, on our sheet,
So I'm compressed.
you are compressed. We have no. So hang on. Let's put it this way. No. So
great.
no. Here's the thing. Here. Let's reframe that real quick. It doesn't mean that you are. It means you're biased to it. So your strategy that you're going to use more often is going to be a compressive strategy, which means you're going to have usually better internal rotation, better hip extension, or no, I shouldn't say hip, better extension, dorsiflexion. All right. So like when you go to squat, you're going to want to sit back into your heels. Which is probably why you pitch forward so much.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the thing that we're seeing a lot is like we had the woman I had to come in today, super compressed, and her squat looks like this. Right, she wants to hinge. It's because she has that bias to do that. We gave her a heel lift, and I made her push a plate out, and she goes, "Oh yeah!" Right, and started to figure it out, and she started to breathe, and all of a sudden her overhead flexion came back, and she had pain. God damn, she had pain in her right ankle here because she kept doing this. Right? So she was getting back pain here and she couldn't get any ankle mobility, and we gave her some of those things on and she was like, "Oh yeah, I feel so much better." Right? All we did was put her in a strategy that would give her more expansion, right? And get her to use kind of the other direction of what she doesn't like she's kind of gearing towards all the time, and she started to breathe better and move better. So in your case, we'll probably bias you to a heel lift when you squat, and we'll probably work a little bit on seeing what's going on in this upper quadrant here on this left side, because we probably need to drive some air into that space, or drive something so that we can get this left shoulder to start to move better. Okay? So we've already got kind of our blueprint of like, all right, we already know like what's probably going to beat Lisa up, more deadlifting.
My favorite thing to do.
Here's the cool thing though, right? Hang on, here's the cool thing though. Yeah, but here's the thing, is like, guess what? You can still actually lift heavy when you squat, and maybe you won't jack up your knees because you're not going to try to do this all the time. All right. So it doesn't mean you can't deadlift. It just means it's going to probably kick you into that compression strategy way more, right? And especially if we aren't working on some kind of breathing strategy or getting some good inhale in there, you're probably going to end up like overtaxing it. That's it. It doesn't mean you can't deadlift. It just means like we're going to try to maybe bias you for a little bit for doing something else. So for me, again, narrow infrasternal angle. I love deadlifting way more than squatting. I freaking hate squatting. I've been wearing my Olympic lifting shoes the whole time to give me a little bit more plantar flexion, right? Abduction, external rotation. Squats feel really good. I feel like at the end of my lifts, I'm like, ooh, I got some like mojo back, as opposed to feeling like, dude, I feel like someone just put a weight on my back as I'm finishing up. So it's definitely changed some of the stuff there. I still don't like squatting, but it doesn't feel like I'm fighting against my own body to get into the right position. Okay? All right. All right, so let's check our infrasternal angles. Right, so remember, have them point to their xiphoid process. And then let's go with the thumbs in underneath it. Yeah. Yeah? Yep.
Okay.
All right, so you ready? So let's go. Let's get your fingers out. Let me try. All right, so Noelle would be narrow. All right, so you see, if I even go like this,
Yeah.
that's pretty narrow.
Okay.
All right, so guys, narrow. So we can use, there's two ways. You can use your thumbs, or we can take, so watch out. We can find it again. We can go with our fingers. I would say she's pretty narrow too.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, who
So
the heck is
narrow.
wide then?
So I get Doug probably has a wide one. All right, so wide, we're looking for like almost like 90 degrees.
Okay.
All right, somewhere within that range. So wide would be a little bit higher than that.
But are women naturally more?
So like I had a woman. I had one of our assessments the other day. I was like, Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So if we look at Doug's, right, that's very wide.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and that's where he's expanded. So he's biased towards expansion. But when we test some of his stuff, he may have limitations, or maybe he's got actually good IR. I doubt it. Right? But we'll figure it out. So once you get that stuff, switch places, and let's get everybody else's measurements up and see what we get.
Yeah, it's your turn.
I So at least let's grab her up here, right? Yeah, yeah. And then just kind of guide it back and also give her a little compression at the knee at the same time. And what do you got there? So again,
No pain.
can you push harder?
Yeah.
Right? And you're starting to feel pulling on that side?
Yeah, a little
Yeah. So it's probably right about there. So I would just, again, if it's similar, would the other side have pain?
Yes.
All right, so I would probably give that a plus.
Okay.
But you're still there. So.
I know she's not 90, but
No, I would still say it's probably negative. So try the IR part, so go swing the other way. You'd see that that's like it's a gate. It's like, whee, it goes the other way.
this is positive.
No, that's negative. That's definitely negative. Yeah, I'd probably, well, yeah, right, yeah. Yeah. I mean, could you probably get more ER? Yeah, you probably could. Yeah, we'll get to it.
The external, like you go a little bit
More. You can.
As soon as he lifted it up, I'm like, that's much worse.
Don't push it. Hey, remember, it doesn't mean you're a bad person if you get a negative or positive. It's literally just putting us.
I feel like I'm gonna know that.
Well, so no. So here's the thing: is what it should tell you is that you probably are really good at certain stuff, and a little bit more poor at other things. Yeah, you got nothing. That's so a little bit on both. So she's stuck on both on this one. So it's negative on both sides on that one. Yeah.
Knew it. I knew it.
Big F. Big F.
Big F. Okay.
Come on, bro. IR, ER. Jeez. Yeah. Do you even work here? Because we'll get to it in a second. Oh, look at that. All right, so hey, give her some compression.
I
Yeah.
was.
She did before.
She was
I
crying.
actually said, no, I feel compression right here.
Okay, is it
No
her?
pressure, but no pain.
So okay. When
Do it
we're
again?
looking, so we're looking. Watch this leg, right?
Right.
So I'm
I
gonna
was
control her here.
Trying to.
There's like a little bit of movement, but you're almost fully flexed.
Yes.
So she's good. So that's you're a plus.
Write it down. You're on the right side. So left side. Wait, what is that?
Okay, so she's here. She's
Awesome.
good.
ER's good,
So internal rotation is
and
where.
IR on that shoulder's good too. So you ready? So ER, right? Now we're gonna go shoulder. So her right is plus, and her IR is plus. No, she's good on both.
A plus.
Oh, really?
Yep.
But she didn't hardly come down here.
So relax. So relax. I would say it's pretty good. I mean, she's like right in the cusp. All right. Does it hurt? You ever have shoulder pain? Okay. So hey. So then we can kind of see this. That's pretty good.
Okay.
Right. And then if we go here,
That's her adduction and then
yeah,
overhead.
and that's pretty good too. So she's pretty good on that
okay.
side. That's good, right? That's good external rotation. Yes. Yeah.
That's what I want.
This isn't Christmas.
All I want for Christmas time is
All right. So again, it's everywhere. Good. How are we gonna make money?
Yoga. Okay. Left.
Don't force it. I know. Karen's face is like, I'm gonna get it. I know. Snap.
All right. But this is good. I gotta be kind
Yeah.
for this.
So look at where this elbow is now, right? So if we bring her up, right, that's it, right? Because remember, she's gaining range of motion by bringing it down. So
This
just get
is
pulled there.
her.
That's it.
Forgive me. This is her internal rotation.
Yes, and I would say it's
This is her
that, so I would say negative. I would put negative on both.
I feel nice doing this. Yeah. I feel nice.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I think about
Hey, who am I? Letha, why are you not doing your job?
This one. So here.
Wait, this side is screwy. I think so.
So here's the thing. That's okay though, right? And what's interesting though is we may be able to
Good. That's not good, right?
hold the rib down, and it kind of hangs up. Remember, fully external rotate the arm, right? So you can fully external rotate and bring it back, and look at her face. I would say, I would say,
But then again, this side, will go. My back was all jacked up last week, so I was.
Plus. Plus.
on this one,
Oh no, minus.
she
on
could
the-
get it to this, but it
Like that snap.
Feel it?
Yeah. You're fine.
Okay.
Yeah, you're fine.
That one was plus. Yeah, but this one wasn't. That was. I said minus because you didn't get your elbow to your nose, and you winced.
Yeah.
It's a
Character.
Nice try, Kit.
Catch your line.
He's like, does it hurt? It's like, no, but I think I broke my molar. It's like, yeah.
I can still go in, coach.
Quit grinding your teeth.
I go in.
Okay.
All right, did you do an infrasternal angle on it?
What's this on this one?
I did it.
You did it.
Okay.
There's gotta be
Zero.
by itself, yeah.
All right.
Oh, this is different than the other side, Tommy.
Yeah. That's right here, Brad.
Definitely a minus in there.
No pain in your back.
All right, so we'll finish this up with this, and then we'll get into our.
plus.
Can you get her? Go ahead, pull it back in. Yeah, she's good.
That's good.
Yeah, she's good. So we'll go over abduction, adduction. Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
Yep.
And then those are all pluses. That's my left shoulder.
Left shoulder was a minus.
So again, all we're trying to figure out, right, is we both have this as our main kind of bias mechanism, right? We've got actually so on this side we've got actually a couple more pluses over here. So like, all right, we don't have to like do much here. It's already good to go, right? We got to kind of maybe address this stuff a little bit more. And in Lisa's case, right, it's kind of a lot on this left side, right? On Karen's side, on this left side. So we got to do some things that are going to help promote that left side movement. So like what Dylan said is like, looks like we got the single arm farmer's carry swing. Like, did you watch that video where you had the guy hold this and swing fast, right? What he's doing is he's compressing one side to force stuff to go the other and move it at the same time and breathe. And all of a sudden it'll open that space up.
I would hold it on my left side.
Your left shoulder is the one that's hurting, right?
Right.
It's not moving, correct?
Right.
Let's go right hand and swing the arm.
So what are we looking, so are you looking to the side that has the most?
So what we're just trying to figure out is what do we need to recheck when we come back, and maybe what is something we need to kind of investigate. So we know, so like Doug's got, all right, so let's look at Doug's real quick. So he's got good hip external rotation on his right side and left. He's got decent IR on his right, like none on his left. He's got good hip flexion on his left, but not on his right. He's got shoulder flexion, both is good. He's got shoulder external rotation, both is good. He's got no shoulder internal rotation on either side, and then he's got good shoulder adduction on both. Okay? So what we're going to look for him is like, man, he's got a wide infrasternal angle. We need some compression, and we need to get a lot of it to get into that internal rotation on both shoulders. All right? So what might actually be a good thing for you would be like bench press. All right? In the right.
What?
No. Well, so here's the thing, though. In a certain like way to do it. Okay? It's not like I'm just going, all right, Doug, go freaking have at it. But what we can do is if we can get him to compress and get some air moving and kind of actually get his strategy to get these ribs down and then be able to hold that, we all of a sudden might see this move better into that position. So he would be an in through the nose, blow out like he's blowing through a balloon or straw. Because we need these to come to pull this rib cage and hold it in place. All right? Yeah. So you guys would all be the. All right. What was your infrasternal angle? Because I'd be curious about Elisa. I'm going to guess wide.
Warm the hands up.
Right there.
Yeah. So I would say that's wide. Yeah.
What was the other one? Thumb?
Yeah. So that, again, her thumbs aren't even close to touching. So that's wide. So again, Elisa's got a ton of mobility. Right? She's constantly expanding. What have I been telling you to do all this time? To fix your stuff. Like to kind of get, no, but to kind of like, to do what though? Like lift some heavy weights, right? You need to get, she needs to get stuff pulled together, right? She needs to do a strength training program that's actually going to force her to kind of hunker down and control some of this mobility.
How do we do our deadlifts too? She likes them this way, not this way.
Yeah. Right? So it's this idea of, all all right, how can we kind of just push her in a direction that maybe will give her a little bit more in the opposite direction of what she likes to do the most? Okay. All right, so let's show the adduction and abduction. Who was it? Oh, yeah. Okay, you're going to be the guinea pig again. All right, so Lisa's going to lie on her side. Doesn't matter which, we got to do both. All right, so right arm's going to be going underneath your head.
No way, you're the best. So I'm meeting.
All right, so we're going to, I know. We're going to pull our knees up. So we're checking a couple things here. All right, hip extension and then hip adduction. So I'm going to hold her in place here. Normally, if we had a table, they would tell you like lean your here so they can't roll back. It's a little hard to do when you're on the floor. So I'm just going to put my hand here. I'm going to grab her leg. I'm going to kind of let her relax a little bit, and then I'm going to bring it up and around and pull her back. All right. Now here's the thing: is you all saw her low back like move, right? So as I bring her back, you see how I pull it. All right. So for me to get here, she's actually getting lumbar extension, not true hip extension. So that's probably where she would go to. So already right off the bat, we know we don't have full hip extension. We definitely don't have adduction. So if I bring her here and try to bend her down, do you like that? No. Right. So she's got a negative in hip extension and she's got a negative in adduction. All right. Now relax. So now we can bring her underneath and grab her here. Again, I'm going to roll the hip and hold it in place and bring her up. All right. That's a lot of hip abduction. So she's got that. So that would be a plus. All right, let's try the other side. Huh? What do you mean when I bring your leg up? Oh, no. All right, so we're going to bring... What did you say?
I said I didn't realize hips went that way.
All right, so we're going to here. We're going to give her a little bit of... Just to kind of let her loosen up and move the hip. And then we're going to bring her back. And again, man, you're fighting me already. I can't get her all the way back. What do you think about that? Like if I bring you back, doesn't like it, right? So we're going to put, again, negative on both those, and then we're going to bring her up. What do you think about that? Don't like it, but I would say she's got it. She's got pretty good abduction, okay?
So where does that go?
So now we're back at the hips. We have abduction, which is under external rotation. So you'd put pluses on both of those. And then we have adduction, which is under interrotation. You put negatives on both of those. Okay? The adduction is the hip extension and adduction test is the same, right? It's just kind of if you can't get hip extension, you definitely don't have adduction. All right, so let's practice.
Okay, so the adduction and extension are the same.
Yep.
Okay, you're on the bed already. So let's go.
We're getting, did I say 3 or 2? We're getting 3 more Airdyne bikes. Well, what? Huh? That's all he's got?
Seriously,
All right.
you can see me on the back.
I know. Relax.
I feel like I'm getting massaged.
Yeah, you're right. So that's definitely not it. All right, so you're pulling her way back. So she puts her knees about there. Good. And then let it go down. Right, just let it drop. Let it drop. Yeah. So, any pain there, Leah? No. Right. So I would say she's probably. Here, actually, let me see that real quick.
Okay.
Good. Relax.
See, I feel like you go into lumbar
Good.
extension, and then you can't.
Right. So she can almost get to the floor. I would say it's pretty good. And then.
Actually,
Yeah.
I think you're a negative there too. Like, look at her.
Plus.
You can't get there.
She's a yoga person. Don't have to read to her.
You're all negatives. You're all negatives. Flip over.
You know what? It's like in the Christmas story. It's like Ralphie, A plus.
What was that? Your right leg?
All right, so Doug, you got to pull him back further. All right, so hold this. Yeah, you can.
Okay.
So with the knee.
Even though it's okay.
So here's
I
the-
didn't do that on the other side
No.
because this was all he
No,
had.
here's the thing. With the knee straight, we should be able to take tension off the front side of the hip to pull him back a little bit and then bring him up.
I don't feel like
Yeah.
you go into as much lumbar.
But again, that's still shit.
What?
I mean, what?
You got it.
I don't feel like
You're
Yeah, you're rolling.
you still can't get down though.
Yeah, you're stuck.
I got it.
No. It's not meant to be like, hey, you. All right, I'll do it. Let me just see. Yeah, I'm sure you do. Relax. Don't. Hey, relax. You're trying to overpower it.
This is my bad hip.
His whole body lifted.
I know. Yeah. So, dude, you're trying so hard. I can feel your hip working. You're like,
All right, do her again because I want to see it.
all right. What are you thinking?
Well, her back started to.
So then she doesn't got it on the left side, right? So you can see it. She's starting to arch and tilt. Right. All right, Mrs. Potato Head, come here.
I feel like you've got definitely.
All right. So we'll
So you weren't doing it right. I'm a positive. I'm doing it right.
no, I'm positive. Relax. Right? No, you're not.
But I can't do it because I can't even get. You can't even.
All right,
I
relax.
actually think this side
Relax.
was better.
Hey, pain there? Okay. Hang on there.
I don't know.
That's definitely not good. That gets stuck.
So on the other side,
Side, the
I
other
feel
side.
like she goes into extension.
Definitely not a yoga instructor. I should have said, definitely not a yogurt instructor.
Take yoga in the morning.
On that.
Good.
Ow. You don't think no?
You're right. This one isn't good.
No.
And again,
Oh,
no.
that's
Yeah.
right.
So negatives across the board.
Weird, right?
Oh, no.
The left's
Left-
her left
left-
side.
Left hip adduction and hip extension was okay. Abduction was not. So
Right.
hip extension, adduction. Hang on one second. What's up?
She wants to make sure you're doing it right.
I'm gonna make sure.
She's good. She's got plenty.
Okay.
Okay, so last time it wasn't doing this.
No, I think before I was going to ankle it, I think I just.
So hold him here, yeah, and then good. Bring it up. I grab him down here more. It's easier to lift it up, yeah, because I don't care about what's happening at the end. Yeah, so he's got good abduction. Yeah. So Doug, bring this. There you go. Yeah. So you can see. Hey, you can see he's coming through there. Yeah. So right about there. Yeah. And that's right. See if so he's right on the cusp of it. See if you can drop it down. It drops down actually pretty well. So he's close. I don't know. That's like, yeah. That's I usually just mark it as like a star.
I can feel
Get
it's
pressure.
here, but I
Yeah.
feel no tension.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of these other ones, it's like, okay,
Okay, non-yoga instructor. Let's
She doesn't take yogurt.
Check.
Wow, I know.
How do you?
So go down.
All right.
Stick it to me. That's what I
So hang on, no, right? You can use this as a scene, as a way to see if she's actually straight. So if I get her here, if I roll her over, yep, so relax, give me this leg. It doesn't, like, that's a ton of tension, right? And I can't get her there. And it definitely doesn't want to like go down. It wants to come forward.
Yep.
So that would be negative, right?
Okay.
And then we'll roll her hip forward again. We'll get her leg out straight, and then we'll bring her up,
That's good though. Abduction.
Roll
Yeah,
forward
it's pretty
part.
good, yeah.
Okay.
right? Because they want to roll back to get back into hip flexion. For what? So adduction drop test. So you're gonna grab them. So I would actually. So if it's bigger, you got to kind of get underneath it so you can control it, and then bring him back. And actually, Doug's pretty good there. If I can keep it out, yeah, yeah. So he's actually pretty good. All right, and then check abduction. All right, guys, let's finish this up because we only got 10 minutes to play with some exercises. We may have to do a continuation next time.
So right side. Abduction.
my left leg
Hey,
first.
Doug, as long as you're better than Karen, who cares?
So I think that's a
Take
negative.
that.
Wait, let's play a game.
No,
Win something.
let's play a game where I win.
Yeah.
Spike?
Any game. Bring it on. Put me in coach.
Just you want to. Actually, that's okay because you're not bent. You're not.
All right. Go ahead, do it again.
Push she forward. I see her rolling back.
So hold that there, yeah. Hold that
No,
there.
she was
Now
when
bring it up.
Lisa was doing it, though.
Good, bring it up. Is that it? That's all she got?
That it?
Bring it up. Yeah,
Oh.
no, that ain't. Is
Yeah,
it?
you're good.
Yeah, you're good. Good.
You're so gentle, Lisa.
All right. So let's play with for a second. Let's get all of our narrow
Narrow-minded.
I saw you
mind.
doing this morning.
All right, so we're going to get our narrow.
I can't wait to keep coming to these meetings.
All right.
Wondering, I'm like, what
All right, so for our narrow people, okay, we're going to go heels elevated. We're going to take a breath in at the top. We didn't even get to like the propulsion stages, which we will next time. All right, so here we're going to take a breath in. We're going to exhale as we get to here, and then inhale again. Come back up. All right, so here's what you need to know. Top, inhale. Middle, exhale. All the way down, inhale, exhale. Inhale to come up halfway. Exhale, inhale at the top. All right, so narrow. Narrow, let's get somebody on there. Get narrow.
Because you had me doing this.
Yep.
So what did I do different?
So,
Because when my back was bothering me, you had me doing that.
so sometimes you still have to restore the pattern.
Okay.
Can you do the breath order again?
I will. We'll just wait till Noah comes up. Okay. So remember,
In the middle, you're.
all right, so we're gonna add another component to this. No, just keep it on front. All right, we're gonna add one more component to it. We want to keep this pelvis and rib cage kind of stacked. Okay, so at least let's get in there real quick. So if I'm here, right, my first thing shouldn't be to go back. I actually want to let my knees go forward a little bit, so now I can keep this cylinder stacked. All right, because as soon as I do this, it's a compression strategy. All right, we already are good at compression. I want to be here. I want to take a breath in. Now remember, my exhale is going to be inhale,
Like a German dancer is like that.
exhale, inhale, halfway, and come up. Okay? So that pelvis should just tuck a little underneath. All right? You should feel your quads actually doing a ton of work if we go slow and find your spot.
Are you also rounding your back? Are you pushing the leg?
A little bit. I just want to try to keep the cylinder stacked. So remember, yep. Remember, open mouth exhales. So, Lisa, you got to kind of tuck a little bit. So, to do one more time, let's just see if we can figure it out. So, right off the bat, let's get our hands up. Okay, so give me a breath in through your nose. All right, big exhale out. Hold that, right? Tuck your tailbone a little bit. Good. Inhale through the nose and start to drop down. Big exhale. Tuck your tailbone a little bit. Nope, the other way. Yeah. Now drop in all the way. Some just crack. Okay, in through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. Tuck a little bit. Yeah, now push up through your heels. Hold it. Nah, you're good. No, you're good. Did something crack?
I don't know. Probably. You
All right.
definitely want to do.
So she wants to get right back that compressive component. As soon as she comes up, she wants to do this. All right? And that's where, all right, we know that maybe we have to regress to something a little bit, maybe take away gravity. So something on the floor might be their best bet. But if she wants to squat, you got to have a heel lift to actually get you down into that position because you're just going to turn it into a deadlift every time. Right? So for our compressed or expanded people, what you guys would do, all right, let's go toes up. All right, now you're going to get a different exhale strategy. Right, so we're going to go. Right, and then come back up. Okay.
Don't want to stack. Like you.
No, so you can stay. You're gonna so you're gonna try to stay stacked a little bit, but do the best you can. But you're really blowing air out.
So this is a little bit more like.
I don't think I've ever done one of these with my toes up.
Oh, it's more.
Yeah.
And I don't have to do that.
So here's the thing: we can still bias this stuff. So if I wanted to get an inhale, extra rotation, everything, which means like maybe for our squats, we turn our toes out a little bit, we get our knees going out, we turn our palms up. Like supination is another, associated with ER. If we're in this part, we need some IR. Thumbs down, drive it back. That doesn't mean we just round, right? We still want to kind of hold that cylinder position. So breath in, force the air out. Yeah. So at least you don't have to go all the way down. I want you to think about sticking your butt back.
So we're breathing, we're inhale.
Big exhale, blow it all out. Good. Now inhale and stick your butt back. Back, 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 back. Good. Take a breath in. Blow out hard. Yeah, and then you can come back up. All right, so let's do that 2 more times. All right, and then You gotta go? It's okay. Leave your stuff here because we'll go more through it again next time. Yeah, and then let's come back up. All right,
So I should do more deadlifts?
well, so what'd you feel when you did that?
More butt?
Yeah, right? So you start to feel your hamstrings actually doing some stuff. Okay. Perfect. All right, so let's just check. Let's get you guys lying on the floor real quick. Pick one of your negatives and just check it again and see if it turned positive. All right, so Elisa, what do you got?
So,
You can do whatever you want. Check whatever you want.
well, let's check.
So let's check.
So,
Let's check right shoulder IR. Yeah.
yeah, this one yours didn't go anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, you'd say that's better.
Yeah, because it
No,
was
but
like
I don't
here.
think it worked for me because I didn't do the breathing right. Because it hurt, so you do it. My shoulder.
So hey, do it one more time. Just get 2 cycles of breath.
My shoulder though?
Yeah. Hey, let's go. Hey, Karen, let's go. Hands up. So palms up. All right. Yeah. Hey, turn your toes out. Yep. Big exhale. Open mouth. Drop all the way in. In through your nose. Exhale, open mouth. Come up halfway. Hold it. Tuck your tailbone a little bit. Yep. Breathe. All the way back up.
You're going to have a problem that's
Anything change?
The internal rotation on the left hip is better. Didn't hurt as much.
Ooh.
just open mouth exhale, not forced.
Which one are we checking? Left? For what? All of it?
Yeah.
Yep. Still stuck?
That's the hurt one.
Nah, I would say no. That's pretty good, but
It's way better.
Yeah.
I'm wide.
was it for the floor last time?
No, that was
out.
That's good.
Everything.
That's pretty good.
Wait, am I stacked though?
So, Lisa, just think about rolling your tailbone a little bit underneath you. Yeah? So there you go. Drop, drop, drop. Let your knees go forward. Breathe out. Open mouth. Drop all the way in. Inhale through your nose. Open mouth.
I'm done. Yeah. Now we can do a
Tuck the tailbone. Tuck the tailbone. Good.
Totally see her.
So much better.
Yeah.
I can totally see you want to go much better.
So just getting some space. Just getting some space.
I opened up.
So give yourself. So again.
Totally see you going to that.
I go into extension. Oh, for sure.
So here's the cool thing, though, right? We know you need expansion, which is also external rotation, which is abduction, plantar flexion, supination.
My abduction was good though.
And so here's the thing, though, is like, sometimes it doesn't make you're like, all right, should all these things be positive or negative? Sometimes it just works this way. It's like, all right, I'm compensatory strategy one way. I'm biasing this way, but I lost internal rotation if I'm already compressed. Shit happens, right? That doesn't mean we can't still kind of override the bias completely. So by giving yourself a wider stance, by giving yourself a little bit more expansion, it didn't hurt.
So here's a question. If I'm doing single leg work, should I like almost band this front leg?
So here's what we're doing right now with kids that single leg stuff that need expansion. We'll elevate the front heel, right? And we'll be doing stuff like that, right? Our single leg squats will look like that.
Band them and pull them this
Sometimes, so it's here's the thing. It's like right now, I don't need to do that. But sometimes if they're trying to figure it out, we may put them here with a heel lift and get them in this position, and then band and pull it so they kind of figure it out. But what's been really interesting is in a lot of our split squat positions, if all of a sudden we go here, right? We're kind of stacked. We're in sink in. And they hold that. They're like, holy crap, my legs are freaking working really hard, right? It automatically starts to fire stuff
Do you
up.
feel like this keeps the compensation going because we're accommodating for it?
So here's the thing
Here's the
I was thinking that because in all previous stuff, heel lifts, like FMS would tell you, it's an ankle mobility restriction. And so if you have a heel lift and all of a sudden you can do this, it's an ankle mobility restriction. That doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. What it should tell you, though, is that they're probably strategy to get in that position is biased towards something, and we need to bring them back towards the midline. And that's why, a lot of times, probably a lot of the FMS, ankle corrective stuff doesn't always work. It's probably because you're missing something way up the chain that has nothing to do with that right at that moment. It's just ending up down there. What do you notice with that?
All right, well, let me do it on the side. It does hurt.
Sure.
Better. I mean, there's pain there, but I have inflammation there, but it's,
Yeah.
it's
Different.
different. This is my right side hurts way more than my left.
Okay. All right. And again, you probably so.
We elevate our toes.
No. So here's the thing. Let's come off that for a second. Did you have a negative adduction drop test? Like we couldn't extend your hip, correct? So if I'm bringing that back foot or back knee way back here, am I putting myself in extension?
Yes.
Yeah, and especially if I got this with my back, yeah, you're probably definitely not going to. I would. So that's the other thing too is we're shortening up strides a little bit more because ultimately, if I go way back here, I actually can't put any weight in that front leg, and I'm trying to influence that front leg. All right, so come back up. You ready? Tuck your tailbone. Yep. Bring your elbows up here like this. All right. So touch your elbows together. Good. Bring it up here. Push this back. Good. You feel how that's a little stacked? Good. Now drop straight down. Push hard through this front foot. Yep. Breathe in. Exhale through the mouth. And then roll back up. Yep. What's different about that?
I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot less in that. This knee.
Okay. All right. And well, yeah. All right, so like this morning, the woman that came in, she's like, I can't do lunges. I'm like, well, show me a lunge. And she was like, I'm like, I bet, right? No wonder. And she's also someone that's super compressed, right? So she's trying to get this expansion, and yet she wants to hunker down. And the other thing too is like she can't get into hip extension, but she's driving this thing really far back. The other thing too is there's no chance she can use that front leg because all of her weight is back. So we shortened up her lunge. Okay, all right, I want you to kind of just stack a little bit, drop into it, and come up. And she goes, oh, I feel so much better. I can feel my legs doing their job. We didn't, all right, but we did with her squats. Here's the thing, we restored her squat pattern first, and then I asked her to do that stuff, and she was able to change it, okay?
So with rear foot elevated split squats, am I still?
Yeah, I would still put a front heel lift in there and go for it. So I would even say now, so like my stance on this has changed a little bit because I used to think like, man, I really want to be here loaded over this front leg. If I was to do it like now when I do them, I think I kind of want to be a little bit more there.
Less lean forward?
Yeah, let's lean forward. Yep, and a little more taller for me, right? For maybe someone that is expanded, we might want to go the other direction a little bit.
Yeah, but see, that would put too much strain on my knees.
You don't know until you try. So again, stack your ribs first, right? Because here's the thing: your first thing is always go tuck this down a little bit, tuck your tailbone a little bit. Nope, let your shoelaces go flat. All right, and then get your hands out. Let's go palms up. Yeah.
I mean, there's less strain in that back leg.
Good. Relax.
A little bit here. But
Yeah. So it's just how do we change some of this stuff to help them either get in the position or then allow them to load it? Because in most cases, she wouldn't be able to do half this crap, and she can't then train. So rather than sitting there doing like 15 different breathing exercises to try to restore it, if we just bias them towards something that we know they need, maybe they'll train really hard. And that's kind of like what we've been doing a lot with our personal training clients, is doing a lot more isometric holds and eccentric work, because if we're compressed, right, we don't have the eccentric orientation and expansion capacity. So we really need to actually work on, because here's things we are good at. Power, right? So what we actually kind of need to work on is this. Right, slowly lowering, feeling things moving and being able to get air in that space, get a little bit of an exhale. Right, and find that spot. We'll talk more about the propulsion stages next time, because that dictates, remember I was like inhale at the top, exhale in the middle, inhale at the bottom again. That kind of gives us a little bit more architecture as to how to like maybe structure some of that stuff, but it changes things pretty quickly. I mean, especially for you, if you want to deadlift and maybe not jack things up a lot, cool, put a little toe lift underneath it, get back there, and you can go for it, and it'll probably make you feel a little bit better overall. All right, any questions? All right, so let's leave the sheets because we'll go over it again. We'll talk about the other stuff next time.